Welcome, growth seekers and freedom fighters, to the Grow to Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Kiani Williams, and it is my goal to help you reach your fullest potential through listening to the stories of real women who have broken through a new level of life. And so listen in and take notes, because you're going to learn so many practical and tangible tips to help you grow to your fullest potential in business and in life. So let's get to it. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grow to Be Free podcast. I am sitting here with Cassidy Amber Chapman, and she is a holistic health coach for women with chronic, mystery, and invisible illnesses. So, Cassidy, I'm going to pass it to you to intro yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we can go into your story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited. This is just such a beautiful community. And I can just tell all of your listeners are just such beautiful people, because that's who you attract, because you're just a beautiful person. So, my name is Cassidy Chapman. I'm a holistic health coach for women with chronic, mystery, and invisible illnesses. And I have found that a holistic approach to health, and as you'll hear my story, you'll understand why, but a holistic approach is needed for true deep health, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. We are multidimensional beings, and we need to heal at every layer that we are, so that we can truly express and live the way that we want to live.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah. Holistic health is something that's getting a lot bigger, I feel like. And I can tell that you're super passionate about it. And obviously I know because of your story, I've heard your story, but I'm super excited for everybody listening to hear your story, because you speak with such conviction, and I can tell that, holistic health has really impacted your life. So tell us a little bit about what your story is, and how you came about having a mystery illness.
Yeah. So my story starts around 8 years ago. And I was really young at the time.
How old were
So
you?
I, oh God, 8 years ago. So I was like 16. I was
Okay.
around 16. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so that's when I first started having mystery medical symptoms. I would have like a headache here, a dizzy spell there, was becoming purple. I thought that was normal at first. But then the symptoms became like a laundry list. I gained over 50 pounds in under 3 months, eating less than 500 calories per day, which does not seem to be right. People thought that I was, closet eating or something, and I wasn't, being true to how much I was eating, but I couldn't eat because I was so nauseous. And I was dry heaving every day. And I don't know if you know what dry heaving is. It's basically like you're trying to throw up, there's nothing to throw up. I was becoming purple. I had GI pain and dysfunction. I had chronic yeast infections. I had painful periods that were so painful that I would like have to crawl on the floor to my bed, because on the onset I wouldn't be able to walk. They were so painful. And there was just many more. There was just like a laundry list. And so I went to doctor after doctor and test after test, and they kept telling me that I was fine. And I wasn't really able to speak my truth at that point, stand up for myself. And I'd just be like, okay. And then just try to go to the next doctor and not, tell them like, no, I'm in pain. Something's wrong. You need to help me. I had a very powerful mother, and she was a great advocate for me. But I wasn't able to speak for myself very much.
Mhm.
And that was super hard, because I felt so unseen, so unheard and dismissed, really. I felt that, my symptoms didn't matter, or that I couldn't speak my truth because, they were embarrassing. I was 16 years old. Why was I this sick? And I didn't really have any energy to go out and hang out with friends or anything. So, after 2 years of this, back and forth with tests and doctors, and, just keep telling me that, it was all my head. It was just stress, but giving me no tools to actually reduce stress.
Mhm.
I found a doctor that, listened and was, it gave me a prescription for that drastically helped my quality of life. And I'm so grateful for this doctor. I'm so grateful for this medication, but it was suppressing the symptoms. And after 5 years of symptom suppression, I had a health crisis. And whew, talking about, just like it brings me back every time. But I started to have all the symptoms all again. And I started to have new symptoms develop. I had chronic urinary tract infections, panic attacks, where I would wake up in the middle of the night terrified I was going to wake up in pain, or I would wake up in severe physical pain. And this pain was pelvic pain that was so painful that it felt that knives were ripping me open from the inside out. It was just so painful. And it got to the point where, I no longer wanted to live because I was in so much pain. I was in so much physical pain that I felt so alone. I felt so hopeless. I felt that there was no hope. And being that much physical pain consistently, constantly, with no light, that's just so hard. But a few things woke me up. One of them being, I had 4 family members die during this painful year of my life, and one of them was 32 years old.
Mm.
And so when he died, I knew that there was no time to waste. I had to take every drop of life that life could give me, and take it for myself. So that was one part. And another part, I hold dreams in high esteem. I believe that they give us messages, and they've always given me messages. So this dream, I was walking on ice, this lake or something. I don't know what, but I was walking on ice. And I looked in front of me, and there's this hospital about a mile away. And I looked behind me, and there was miles of ice behind me. So there was only one way forward.
Mm.
And I just felt this deep desperation to get to the hospital. I felt that I needed to get there. And so I started walking on the ice, and the ice cracked. And I plunged into the water. I kept falling in the water deeper and deeper and faster and faster and faster. And there was just no stopping it. And, when I finally stopped, I looked up, and I was miles away from the surface. And in that moment, I gave up. I accepted a cold, dark death in this freezing cold water. And this dream was so vivid. I felt my skin going numb. I felt the biting of the ice. It was so vivid. I just was like, I'm done. And
Mm.
then this like wave of wanting to live came over me. I looked up, and there was this like teeny glimmer of light from where I had fallen. And I started to swim. I started to swim up and up and up. And every time I got higher, it got harder to swim. It was
Mm.
like there was more and more resistance as I was going, and I just kept going, and I had to use more and more strength.
Mhm.
I finally got to the surface. I pulled myself onto the ice. I was so excited for a second, but then this loneliness creeped up my spine, because I realized even though I swam all that way, I was still alone on a sheet of ice.
Mhm.
And I felt really lonely again and hopeless. And then I looked over, and I saw these 2 men in a boat, but the boat was half sunken into the water. And they came over, somehow got to me, and they asked me if I needed help. I said yes, because I needed help. But in the back of my head, I was thinking, how can they help me if they're drowning themselves? And that's when I woke up, and 3 really big messages came to me.
Mm.
Um, 1, I wanted to live. I didn't want to die. 2, it was going to be really hard to get out of the sunken place that I had been in. And it was going to take all my strength. And 3, I was asking help from people who were suffering, who were struggling themselves. And that is when I realized I had to become my own savior. I had to become my own hero, and I had to take my health into my own hands. So I got a new notebook, a brand new notebook, and I wrote down Cassie's health plan. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew that nothing was going to stop me because I knew what it was like to be at the very depths of darkness. And I was not going back there. And that decision, oh, I'm just getting chills just thinking about it, that moment, because it changed everything. That moment when I decided to commit to me was everything. Um, I went down this most amazing journey I ever could have possibly experienced. I'm grateful that I went down that path because I got to heal deeper and more than I ever could have expected. I
Mm.
healed not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, and physically. And again, this multi-dimensional healing is is my most treasured gift. It is my gift that I've given to myself. It
Mhm.
was the moment where I chose me. It was the moment I chose self-love. It was the moment that I said no more. And God, I no longer, I've lost over 60 pounds. I no longer am nauseous at all. I healed myself from 12 of the 15 food allergies I had previously. I don't have infections anymore. I'm no longer pelvic pain. I have not had one anxiety attack since. Um, I really, I can't even express just how grateful I am for my journey.
Mm.
Yeah, it was just, this is why I'm so passionate about sharing this with others, because it's my life. It's what cuts so deep for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Wow. That's an incredible story, and you tell it so beautifully. And I have so much respect for that moment in the dream, and then the real moment that happened in real life where you decided to make that commitment to yourself. Because a lot of the times I feel like people really struggle with just making a commitment. I know I'm guilty of that. But what do you feel like, the dream aside, but like what is like the thought process that really led you to just really commit to your own health?
Ooh, that's a really great question. It was the fact that I was thinking before, I was a victim. I was searching for someone to save me. I was searching for that hero. I was searching for that knight in shining armor. I was searching for that outside person, that outside doctor, not that, doctors are amazing, and, they're a tool in the tool belt, and they're very useful, and you know, they're just not the one and only entity that's supposed to save your life. That's not their job.
Mm.
It's your job. That's when I realized it's my job to take care of my life. I have to save my life. And that was a thought pattern that, it was in my control, was what really changed for me.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I love that perspective. I haven't heard that before about doctors, but it is their job to save people's lives when it's an emergency situation. But when it comes to health, it's like they can give you all the advice, all the medication, all the things that they can do, but if you're not able to apply it, or if it, you know yourself the best. And so I feel like in your situation, you realize that out of everything that everybody else could do, it really just starts with you. And that's like a huge sense of responsibility.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so grateful for, all the medical professionals that have brought me to this point, because, it wasn't just myself. They were tools in my tool belt, but it was the fact that I realized that I was like multidimensional. I had all of these layers to myself, and I needed to heal each part. I needed to take responsibility and say, this is in my hands. This is mine, and I have to heal it. But yeah.
Yeah. And that's super empowering too. Did you feel a little bit of fear in that moment? Because I feel like you can feel super empowered, but there could also be a little element of fear as well.
there's these like, I would have these highs of, oh, I mean, I'm going exactly where I need to be. I have all the power in the world. And then I would have these crashes of like, what am I doing? How am I doing this? Like I would, and also especially when you're healing past traumas, you're healing just everything a part of you, you have to go through the dark nights of the soul, as we say, because it's needed. Those dark moments are needed for you to, heal. It's truly, it's expelling those moments, because not only was I using medication to suppress my symptoms, I was using emotional suppression in my life. And hence, that's why a lot of the panic attacks also started. I was suppressing my voice. My
Mm.
voice was, I wasn't advocating for myself. I am my own patient. I have to advocate for my patient. I have to advocate for the little girl inside me. I have to advocate for myself. So, finding my voice, that was a huge part of it too. Um, it's really it's about the whole person and everything that can possibly be around it.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. So, how did you really start figuring that out for yourself?
Well, that's, I started more in the mindset. I didn't know that I was going to go down spiritual, emotional, mental. That wasn't part of the plan. The part of the plan was I'm going to figure out, I'm going to read the studies. I'm going to, talk to my doctors and I'm going to figure this physical stuff out.
Mhm.
So I was actually a pre-medical student. I graduated top of my class, neuroscience. So I knew how to read research. And that's kind of where I started from, because I was like, I knew exactly, where that is. That's where I started. I was like, I'm going to read the research and I'm going to, go from there. And it wasn't until I started allowing myself to listen to my intuition that I started to find different things that got me on the other paths. Where I did read those studies, and those studies definitely helped me implement some of the habits and the different treatment stuff that I did for myself. But it was just starting. It's just starting, because then your intuition brings you, it can bring you the rest.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of like, let me just read the research, and that's how it started. But listening to my intuition brought me so far.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm really glad that you brought that up because that's something everybody needs to learn. And for me in my personal life as well, that's been a challenge because wow, like when you're growing up, and especially for you, like, being 16 and dealing with all these things, like at that point, like you said, you don't have your voice yet. You have a lot of other people's input into your lives. And it's hard to start learning how to think for yourself and start listening to what you want out of life and what actually means stuff to you. So I know that's been a challenge for me is learning. I'm learning it every single day about my intuition and how to really truly listen to it. So what has been like the biggest help for you in learning how to listen to your intuition?
Oh, that's a great, great question. It's funny because I'm putting a lot of that into my book that I'm writing right now. Is like, how to listen to your intuition while, going through this healing journey. But I would say just sitting with yourself and like holding yourself and ask yourself like, what do I need in this moment? And listen.
Mm,
And you can even like, I would even say, Cassidy, what do you need right now? How can I support you?
mm,
Then the answers just show up. And not it doesn't always happen like, the thought came in my head all of a sudden. But that can happen. That's absolutely an answer that can show up. But it can show up in a movie. It can show up in someone talking to you. The answer can show up just watching for those signs and just being like, where, having that question, asking yourself it, and then sometimes it'll just show up. Will come effortlessly because you have opened yourself up to the answer. It's about opening yourself up to the answer. A lot of the times we don't want to hear the answer. We don't want to heal sometimes because it's not familiar. We are creatures that love comfort. We love being in the familiar. And so opening ourselves up to a whole new identity, to a whole new world, can be really scary. And one thing that, I definitely noticed in my journey was I was identifying myself with my illness as it was a part of my identity.
Mm.
And letting go of that really helped because it allowed me to open myself up to new answers. It allowed myself to open up to healing, um, because I was so unheard for so long that I wanted to be heard. I wanted my pain to be validated. I wanted someone to see me, and so holding on to that pain was kind of me validating the fact that I was in physical, mental, emotional pain. Um, that it was just that stamp of validation, but allowing myself to let go of that identity allowed me to listen to my intuition, which was a really big part of it.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge because in getting anywhere in life, it's all about your identity and how you see yourself and your self-image. And so as humans, we naturally want to have validation from other people. And I feel like that's just like a natural human desire. And the fact that you let that go is such a big thing, but there's a real testament to like the fact that you did let it go and it really opened up the possibilities to you and for you. And like when we think about letting go of something, especially something that's so humanly inherent that we just want to like grab onto, is like what kind of advice would you give to somebody who really just needs to let go?
Oof. Oh, is the comfort worth the pain? Ask yourself that. Is the comfort worth the pain? And if it's worth the pain, go for it. Do whatever is best for you. I'm not here to change anybody who doesn't want to change. I'm here to help transform those who are on their transformational journey. So, is comfort worth your pain? Just ask yourself that.
It's a great question. Yeah. And it's such a direct question as well because you have a choice. That's the benefit of being in control of your actions and your thought processes, is that you have a choice. It's not going to be an easy choice, but you got to be like really truthful and really honest with yourself, I feel like, in order to really get to those answers.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah. So I know you do a lot of healing. You have a lot of really great points that you teach in your coaching. So what is the one healing modality that you feel like you can share with the listeners that will really help them today?
Yeah. So, you know, I do feel that this one healing modality can really change your life, but you need to take a deep breath before you listen to it, before you try it, because I know before I did, it was it took me back. So this is called mirror work. There's many different kinds of mirror work, but I have my own little spin on it. So in my program, I go through 3 transformational practices, and that is forgiveness, gratitude, self love. So you give that to yourself. You look in the mirror and you say your name and you say, Cassidy, I forgive you for. And
Mm.
then look yourself in the eye and you say this. You say, Cassidy, I am so grateful that you. And then you say whatever you need to say. And then the third is, Cassidy, I love you because. And you may not be able to get to that point where you say those 3 statements. You might just need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm here for you. Because people don't do that. People don't look themselves in the mirror into their own eyes and say, I'm here for you. Um, so that's definitely something I invite you to try if it resonates with you. And if a lot of emotions come up, that's good. That means that you're realizing that you can be there for yourself. What really took me back when I was doing it was like, oh my God, I could have been there for myself this entire time and I wasn't. it hit me it slapped me in the face. How dare I have been, abandoning myself for this long when I could have sitting here, been in front of the mirror and validated my own pain, validated my whole story, validated myself, made myself feel seen and heard and appreciated. How dare I not do that for so long? And that was one of the things that I had to say. I forgave myself for it, was that I didn't do it. I didn't know. I didn't know back then. I didn't have the tools, but now I have the tools. And so I had to forgive myself and say, you know what? You didn't have the tools back then. You have them now. And that's the perfect time to use them. And so I invite you to try that transformational practice. And again, if it brings a lot for you, then it's working. So just know that and give yourself much grace when using this.
Hey, popping in here to let you know that growtobefree.com is now live. It's a gorgeous website, so please be sure to check it out right now and give me feedback. The website will allow you to email me, watch any of the episodes, and access our tools and resources. And that leads me to another exciting announcement. Our first tool is the Ambitious Peace Journals. These are for all you ambitious ladies who journal to keep your inner peace, the entrepreneurial gals like myself who have 1 million brilliant ideas, and for the young lady in school to take notes on. And they're smaller in size so they can fit in a standard purse and have modern, trendy designs on the cover. Inside, they're college ruled with enough space to free write, doodle, and take notes. The special thing about them is that I hand selected 300 inspirational, motivational, and encouraging quotes to go on every single page, some of which are uniquely taken from the episodes of this podcast. So you can pre-order yours for 20% off at growtobefree.com. Just pop over to the Tools tab and place your order for the style or styles that you like most. The 20% off pre-sale ends August 6th, so jump in there before the prices go up. And again, thank you so much for your support. Back to the episode. Wow, I'm blown away because it's crazy because yesterday I was doing this without even really understanding that it was a healing practice. Yesterday was kind of, you ever have those days where you just kind of get hit mentally with these thoughts that come up and you're like, whoa, like yesterday we were so positive. Yesterday we were all good, but now where are these thoughts coming from? And you're just like, okay, like having that internal dialogue with yourself, like, okay, guys, we gotta chill out for a second. And so I had to do that. I was literally driving and I was like, Kiani, I forgive you for blah, 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 blah. And then I had to say it again and with something else to like really feel it. And then it just like, it felt so good. Like, it felt like, okay, like I'm forgiven. Like it's okay, so it's easy for us to say it's okay out loud, but in reality it's like you have to really define what that means for you. Like is it okay because you're sweeping it under the rug, or is it okay because you've actually forgiven yourself and you're actually okay with yourself, because gosh, it's so true that like you can't give to others unless you can give to yourself. And what you give to others is a reflection of what you give to yourself. So a lot of the times when we're like super, I don't know, like selfish or I don't know why that's the only one that I can think of right now, or like just, I don't know, mean to other people, rude or something, it's mostly because we do that to ourselves. And we need to be able to be who we want to be with other people to ourselves first in order to give that to others.
Absolutely. And I celebrate you for doing that because it's not easy. That's incredible that you did that for yourself. And it's true. And it's not just how you treat others. You're teaching people how to treat you when you fill up your own cup. You teach people how to treat you. And, one thing that I like, I've always liked, attention from my friends, my family, past romantic partners. I liked attention. That was, one of the things that I was always seeking. And again, like that validation, I was seeking that attention. And doing this mirror work, I realized I can give that attention to myself. What I was seeking from others, I can give to myself. When you think, oh, it's attention, so, that has to come from somebody else. No, that can come from you. And that was one of the really, again, eye-opening things was I don't have to seek anything from outside because it's all here. I can give myself everything. And everything everyone else gives you is a reflection of what you give yourself. And it's extra because you already filled up your cup. So it's just a great situation to be in all around.
Yeah, that is, oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's just additional. I think I saw somebody's post or something. I think maybe it was a reel. It was like, oh man, what was the words? But like, oh, I like myself. So your like is extra. Have you seen that?
Yes, yes. I love that because you have to like yourself in the morning, like yourself. That's why I say try this practice in the morning, because it starts you off filled cup in the day. Before anyone, you know, you don't seek that from others. You're not drained and like have absolutely nothing. But yeah, that's so true. You have to like yourself first before anyone likes you.
That's good. That's good. So it sounds like you do this every morning.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
If I
Awesome.
do it in the morning, I'll do it at night. Again, I always listen to my intuition and it tells me what timing's best. But I do it every day.
Great. Yes, I am a huge fan of daily habits. For me, that's completely changed my life. Having daily habits, and of course, I don't do it every day. I forgive myself for that. I'm not perfect. But what does your typical morning routine look like?
Oh, that's such a great question. It's fluctuated with what different things that I do, just depending on what in my season of my life that is needed. But right now, so what I do is I wake up and the first thought in my head, I've reprogrammed my mind to do this. The first thought in my head is, I'm so thankful I have today, or I'm so grateful to have this beautiful new day. Just having, cultivating that habit of saying that every single time, that first thought in my head changes everything. And it changes the way that I go about my day. Then I, make my bed, brush my teeth. Making my bed has been a huge difference. It sounds so little, but it makes such a huge difference. It's like clean mind, body, soul right away. And then I, do a silent meditation for a little while. Then I write my book. I do something creative in the morning, so I can get my creative juices flowing because that's the time that I'm pretty creative. And then I do yoga and other types of like mind, body, soul practices, so that I can align my mind, body, and soul. And then I do one big goal I do have for the day so that my day is already like a win. Like I already did my big thing. And I set myself up for wins throughout the day and just every day is a victory because I have this morning routine. So that's for me.
I love that. That was all comprehensive, all inclusive, everything you need to do. So, how long does your meditation usually last for? How long do you do it for?
It's very that's a hard question because it's completely different. Again, I listen to my intuition. Maybe I need different amount. If I'm pretty good and I'm not feeling like I need that extra meditation, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, it could be 2 hours. I listen, and sometimes I just need to sit and heal, let my body heal. And if my body's telling me to keep sitting, I'll keep sitting. So it really depends on how I'm feeling and listening to my intuition.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because I know there's some people, myself in the past included, where, I'd have like a routine or something that like, I know I'm supposed to do this and I'll be super rigid about it. I'm like, no, like it needs to go this way, this and that way. But I love that you say you still use your intuition for those periods of time because it's true. Like sometimes you need a little bit more, sometimes you need a little bit less, and you're okay with that. So that's great.
And you know what I found, especially my clients, people think that meditation is a test, and it's not. It's not a test. There's no exam. There's no right way to do it. It's just the intention of sitting with yourself, being with yourself, healing is just that's the intention is halfway there. And just trying. It's all good. If you have thoughts racing, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. There's no perfect way to be doing this. It's not a test. You don't have to get a 100%. There, it just sitting with yourself, committing to do that for yourself. Oh my God, you are doing amazing if you just have that commitment just to sit down, just like that's just incredible itself. So, I always invite everyone to make sure to give themselves the grace because meditation, it's not a rigid thing. It's something for you, not something against you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, is so good because I love how you said you just have to have that commitment. It ties even back to when you made the commitment to get your health together. It's just a commitment and it's simply just a decision and a willingness to follow through with that decision day in and day out and show up however it is that you show up. And even if you show up and you're like, it's no good. Like at least you showed up, like you showed yourself that you could stay committed, and that's honestly the biggest thing that you can do for yourself because it builds that confidence that you can continue using throughout the rest of your life, and it builds on top of each other. It kind of has that snowball effect over time where when you be committed to yourself, you can be more confident, and when you could be more confident, that confidence shows up in every area of life and it just continues to go. Yeah.
This is what I see all the time. A win creates a win. There's like winning streaks and, people talk about that, but a win creates a win. So, if there's one habit, that the audience wants to try out of all of this, they could try the mirror work and make sure they do it every single day. And that's just a commitment to themselves. Or they want to say meditation. They want to do meditation every day. Just one commitment will snowball into another and another and another and another. And then all of a sudden, your life will turn into all these like beautiful commitments to yourself, and everything in your life is for your greatest good. And you have this magical life that just unfolds because you have committed to yourself. And then not only that, the people around you start to heal. They start to commit to themselves. You By committing to yourself, you are changing the world.
Gosh, I love that. I love that so much. I love it because okay, we live in a generation where everybody wants to change the world, which is awesome. I love that, and everybody has their different ways of doing that, but I feel like the most simple and most effective way to change the world is to change yourself for the better. And people skip that a lot.
Change anybody else if you don't change yourself. And you also can't truly change anybody else. You can't. You can't, you know, you can be a guide. You can love them. You can support them on their journeys. But what you can do, the best thing that you can do is be inspiration. Show them. Show them. Don't say, "Oh, you should do this." Show them how it's done. And then they'll be like, "Oh my God, look at her. She's totally changed. I am blown away. Let me start trying that." That's how it's done.
Yes. Yes, be the example. Or, that quote by Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world.
And that's what he was talking about. It's be the change you want to see in the world, but also your world changes when you change yourself. Your whole world changes because we all see the world differently. And when you change yourself, you change your own world already. That's just how it goes. We perceive the world, and so your world will change because the world has changed for you.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So true. And so I want to ask you, because you've clearly gone through a substantial amount of positive change in your life. And so tell me what kind of fruitfulness you've seen from that in the relationships and the people in your own life. Like, what are some highlights that you can give us that really shows that?
Oof. Um, wow, yeah, I'm just getting chills just thinking about it, just because I'm so grateful that this has happened. I see I used to pour and pour and pour onto others. I used to, I'm a kind person. I'm a kind person. So that means I must be completely drained all the time. I don't know. I don't know what my thinking was there, but but I was always completely drained. But now my life, I wake up every day and it's a magical playground. Like there's just magic everywhere. My relationships with others, I speak my truth. I give healthy boundaries. I didn't even know what healthy boundaries looked like before. I didn't even know what that was possible. I'm able to speak to others and be like, just can you support me here, and then assume that people want to support me. It's if people do want to support you when you assume that they want to support you. Um just just so much magic. I've been able to just manifest so much in my life that I'm just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Every time I write something down, it comes true. Or everything that I speak out into the world, it comes. So just magic. Just absolute magic in this world. And that's all I can really explain. Is it's like a magical playground, and I just feel, there's obviously not the days where I don't feel so magical there. I'm not, there's those days, but in my low moments, I know that I'm going to be fine. I just need to get through it. Not like, I just need to embrace it. I need to sit with it. I need to be appreciative that I feel that way, because that means that I'm human. That means I'm alive. So even in those moments, I have the faith that I'm going to go back to magic in the next 5 minutes, in the next hour, tomorrow. So just, it's a magical playground. That's all I can really say.
I love that. Oh gosh, I feel like that is such a huge learning lesson because, it's really easy for us in those good moments to talk about like how magical everything is or like how great life is. It's easy when everything's going well, but when things are going bad, that's like even the most positive people like us, we feel it and we're like, oh my gosh, like there's always like a moment where you're like, how long is this gonna last? But like this sucks so bad, but like like for me, like I have faith that I'm gonna get out of it, and you also understand that like it's just for a small portion of time. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's going to be everything's going to get better at some point. You might not know when or how or what, but like it's coming. And so I feel like that anticipation, it's a positive anticipation. So it's not an anxious anticipation. You're like positively looking forward to, okay, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. So it's so important.
And just so you know, like where the line is of how that changed. When I used to be in those bad moments, oh my, I felt like it was going to last forever. I felt that life had blown up. I would get so upset. I would scream cry for hours when things were bad. Like I felt I had no coping mechanisms. I had no faith in myself. I didn't trust in myself. And in those moments, oh my God, it felt like my world had crashed. To now I'm like, thank you. I feel this way because I'm alive. I feel this way because I need to transmute something to become better.
Mm, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I love this conversation. It was just amazing and you're incredible. I am so happy that you are now pouring into others in a healthy way and and through the work that you do. So tell us a little bit about where the listeners can find you, how they might be able to get in touch with you for your services, and, a little bit about what you offer people, etc.
Absolutely. So you can go to my Instagram, Cassidy Amber Chapman. So that's CassidyAmberChapman. I had changed my Instagram name to be my whole full name because I wanted it to be my whole full self. And I didn't want to just show the good parts. I wanted to show the good, bad, and the ugly. I wanted to show all of me. And so that's why I made it my whole entire name. So you can go there. I have my free webinar as, my link. But you can also DM me for an application for coaching. I know that there's one girl listening to this right now, and you needed this to have a hand to hold, and just know that I can be that hand to hold. We can make magic together, and I see you, I hear you, and I know that you're in pain, and it's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you. This is awesome. Okay, I will link your Instagram, and I'll link your Instagram in the show notes and everything. So yes, a free webinar, which is awesome. So thank you for that. Lastly, to close us out, I am a person of faith, so I would love to pray for you if you would allow me.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So, dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day. Lord God, thank you so much for Cassidy and her dedication to helping others in the way that you have given her. You've given her an incredible gift, and she's been able to find that throughout her experiences. And Lord, I thank you so much for her faith in that, and her faith and dedication to helping herself realize her potential and realize how much of a beautiful life that she can live, Lord God. And I thank you for giving her that power to share her story in vulnerability. Even though it is so tough to be vulnerable with people, you have given her the ability to stand up and to share that with the world. And I pray a tremendous blessing upon her life in all areas, in her relationships. I pray for even more fruitfulness than she's had before in wealth, Lord God, that you will just bless her with the finances and the business success that she really needs to truly impact the whole world. And Lord, I pray for just a tremendous fulfillment, even more fulfillment than she's had before, that you'll just continue to pour out through her and with all the people that she's working with, that they will ultimately feel that ultimate just magicalness that she describes, Lord God. I pray for just peace and prosperity and just complete happiness in her life and her family and friends and clients. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. I could cry.
I feel like I'm gonna cry. It's just a beautiful interview with a beautiful person. So guys, check out Cassidy Amber Chapman on Instagram and DM her. Just connect with her. She's a beautiful soul. She's so sweet. So thank you so much, Cassidy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked the episode, it would mean so much to me if you shared it with a friend you feel like needs to hear it, because everyone deserves to experience growth and freedom. And as for you, I would love to get to know you and hear your feedback on the podcast. So I invite you to reach out to me on Instagram at growingtobekiani or on the Grow to Be Free podcast Facebook page. And if you're looking for community and connection, join the Grow to Be Free Club on Clubhouse. Until next time, see you soon.